Hello, can you hear me? Yes. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Elena Caric, and I am a senior manager in Deloitte. The topic of today's presentation is transformation and change. We will look at how Deloitte is adopting new technologies, including mainly Dataiku. So this presentation will be tailored to any of you working on transformation projects or any of you that are in organizations that are currently investing and adopting new tools or new software. So, in the next 20 minutes, I will introduce you to my organization and specifically to our transformation strategy and our transformation journey. We will look at the outcomes of the strategies and then wrap up with some key takeaways. So, a bit about us. It's a team of 300 data and analytics specialists sitting in Deloitte's audit and assurance practice in the UK. We provide analytics services supporting around 600 client engagements per year. Given that we sit in audit and assurance, we typically face the same challenges that are faced by the audit practice in general, which is raising regulatory and media scrutiny on the practice, also pressures from competitors and rising expectations from clients to provide high-quality audit backed up by data and analytics. So, how my team has responded to these challenges is by transforming the way that we work, by investing in our infrastructure, investing in our technologies. We have provisioned a brand new cloud analytic platform, which you can see here on the screen, which is a total departure of the way that we used to work previously. You can see how with the tools that we selected for our future use cases here and how they interact with one another throughout the analytics lifecycle process. We have data ingress there on the side, data processing done in the middle, mainly by Dataiku, and then outputs of analytics with usually visualization tools. Now, the type of work that we do is going to vary by different teams, and it's not the purpose of this presentation. We will focus on the platform itself and how we roll this out to 300 people in our practice. When it comes to benefits from the platform or why we're doing this, we're essentially doing this to innovate and do things in a more scalable way in the future. It will allow us to collaborate with our colleagues across other member firms in Europe. It will also improve our version control with the tools built in here. And also, which is most important for us, is allow us to scale and get more processing speed, especially when it comes to big data, which has been historically a challenge for us. So with that, how did we decide to roll out a platform such as I've shown you? We knew that it's going to be a dedicated effort with to get 300 people on board. So what we've done is formed a dedicated platform transformation team that I am a part of. So this team was comprised of people from across the different teams in the business that have the technical background, have the understanding of how we do, like what we do and the type of analytics we produce. But most importantly, they are passionate about managing change and long-term transformation initiatives. So once getting those right people on board, we focused all of our activities on three main pillars, which is setting the strategy for the platform to roll out, driving adoption, and then managing migration of existing analytics and processes from legacy tools onto the new environment. Now we'll go through these three pillars and look at the strategies that we've employed. So first on the strategy itself. For any project, you obviously need to know why you're doing it and what your overall objectives are. And for us, it was very important to have that defined at the very start. So we've defined what success looks like for us, our overall objectives, and then broke those down into more specific, measurable objectives or KPIs that we can deliver against. And I really want to stress this because it's been very useful for me and the transformation team to have that guiding light, to stay on track with a project such as this one, which is long running and can get very complex at times with unexpected issues rising. So, on to the second pillar, which is adoption. When it comes to adoption, it really is all about the people and the teams understanding what they need and tailoring your actions accordingly to support them. So what we've done in order to do that is have the transformation team play a pivotal role here by working with each of the teams in the business, meeting with them on a weekly basis to understand how they're adopting, what their impressions are, any feedback, any concerns that they might have, so we capture any resistance to change within the business. Now, for us, there's an added complication here due to the scale of the department of 300 people, which is the way that those people sit in different teams. So all of these teams do things in very different ways. Some are working with large listed entities on a more long-term basis, whilst others work for smaller privately held firms. Many of them are actually more data scientists, while others do just internal analytics within Deloitte itself. So their concerns, their needs naturally are going to be different. They have different requirements, and it was really important to tailor our approach and understand our people. So next, on the adoption side, I wanted to mention the vendors that we worked with. I'm not sure if we have anyone from Dataiku here, but I worked most closely with Dataiku as a vendor, and this is going to be same principle for all of them. We recognized that vendors have the expertise in their customer success teams to help their clients adopt their softwares and their technologies. So we endeavored to work with them throughout the journey, and after around 1 year of working with Dataiku, I can say that they've been very useful and have really helped us raise the bar and raise that knowledge within the team. What we've done to involve them is not just work with them within the transformation team, but also bring the vendors working with our developers directly. And how we did that was by engaging the vendors on presenting on lunch and learn sessions, where they would demo the tools, demo the features of the tools, best practices, things like that, to help users that are now adopting the tools see how they could use it and other use cases. Another thing that we did was held twice weekly vendor surgeries, which are basically calls in the diary that our developers can join, speak directly to the vendor, get help from them when it comes to working on a project or on a migration, or just scoping out what they would do on an engagement. Next, other things that we've done on the adoption side has been forming the Analytics Center of Excellence team. This is a team of technical people from the different teams within the business that were historically early adopters of a tool and have now that skill set within the business and are well placed to work with the other colleagues, with other developers, helping them, breach some knowledge gaps and just furthering knowledge within the business. They also define and disperse best practices of how to use specific tools within our framework. Another thing we've done was form the Change Champion Group, which is comprised of the leaders of our 10 teams that would meet on a monthly basis to discuss how adoption and migration is going, but most importantly, what they've worked on, what benefits and challenges they've seen from using the new tools in the platform. And why I want to stress this is because we found a really, really beneficial outcome from having this group, and that is just broadening the way we view our tool set and how we were going to use things. For example, Dataiku. We've originally acquired Dataiku as a tool to help us prepare data in an ETL manner, low code. However, some of our teams were very interested in Dataiku's app functionality to help us enable self-service analytics for non-technical users. So this team really brought that benefit forward and got other people thinking how they can use the toolset within their own teams. Now a few words on migration. And I've already mentioned this is migration of existing analytics from legacy tools and systems onto the new environment and onto the new tools. So we've approached this the same way we've approached adoption, by using the dedicated platform team to work directly with the business, with the teams within the business, and help them define their migration goals, create a delivery plan for migration, and break that down into sprints. And then we would track adoption, track migration against those delivery plans. Now, an important thing here, and it may actually jump out to you, is that we are actually migrating existing processes and existing analytics, rebuilding them from one tool to another, and that's not always what you want to do because it's not new business. However, we had to do it in order to enable us to be successful long term, and we decided to actually view this as an opportunity to improve our processes, our analytics where we could. And I'm sure that Deloitte is no different from your companies, where you very rarely would have time to go and revisit existing processes and work. So this was a rare opportunity for us to do that and save time on the long run. That brings me to the section on what were the outcomes of all of these things that we've done. I've put this question here. Probably you've hinted already that it's not difficult to guess that things didn't necessarily go as planned, and they very rarely would with a transformation and change project such as this one. So what we found was a few challenges, and the main one has been just the lack of developer capacity across the board, specifically to migrate existing analytics onto the new environment. Here, you can see what a typical analyst or developer would need to do within Deloitte, which is work with us on the delivery plan, train, onboard on the platform, then deliver the work and do all of the accompanying reviews and documentations. And all of that is on top of their day jobs where they deliver work for their clients. And obviously we didn't have enough resources and capacity to do all that migration in the timescales that we needed to. So how we've solved this challenge was by engaging our delivery center in Cardiff to help fill that resource gap. This team is comprised of analysts and developers who already sometimes work with us on client engagements and were well placed to jump in and help us over the last 8 months. So working with them for, as I mentioned, 8 months now, I think it's been really successful, and they've helped us stay on track with the migration timelines that we've originally captured with our SMART goals. This is kind of like an outline of some of the benefits that we found from engaging the delivery center. Obviously, they helped us with the capacity issues, but they've also were very easy and quick to involve, given that they were already in place and we already worked with them, so there was no delay there in starting to use their help. Also, this came at a very low cost, given that we didn't have to hire new resources specifically for this. And long-term benefits, such as now embedding quality within that team. Having worked with the new tools and the platform, they are now well trained in how the systems work and what they need to do, so they can hit the ground running in future engagements when we engage them to work with them. Also, long term, we found that we've actually deepened that relationship with this team, having engaged them already for quite a while now. And that has been an objective both for us in the core team and for the delivery centers as well. But this was an opportunity to actually start working with them closely that we hadn't found before. Okay, so now we will look at some of our key achievements 1 year after starting our transformation journey. First, on the enablement area. We have trained 90 users to use the platform and specifically Dataiku, but many more if we consider people who would just use the other tools. We've held 40 lunch and learn sessions with the vendor's help and 90 vendor surgeries. On the strategy side, mainly the platform transformation team has provided all of the guidance needed for our user base to deliver work in the future, such as defining the processes of the new platform, defining the ways of working, providing user guides and best practice guides. On adoption, we have 55 users currently working on the platform. And that number is actually much higher now because this has been taken in August, which was holiday season. So I imagine that number is like 20% higher now. On migration, we have completed 35 project migrations from the legacy tools on the platform. And we have further 15 in development at the moment. Now, all of this is broadly aligned with those SMART goals that we've put in last October, I believe. So with that, I think overall our transformation and change has been a success. And I hope that that's going to continue, given that we have quite a lot of work to do. This brings me to my last slide, which is a couple of key takeaways that I hope will stay with you if ever you will be leading transformation initiatives in your own organizations or just find yourself in organizations that are adopting a new tool. The first point is around getting passionate people to lead the change. For us, having a large change initiative for 300 users, it was definitely a dedicated transformation team. But if you have a smaller analytics department with around 20 users, you may get away with just having that as a single person leading the charge. Another point here is around leveraging the vendors that you work with. For us, it was definitely a very important area to do early on and get people on board with some specialist help there from the vendor. Next, one is missing. Okay, so that was my third point, which is to discover and promote the benefits of the change with an E. So every project, every initiative has reasons why you're doing it, what the benefits are, and promoting those benefits in the business or in your department will really help keep people engaged and keep people, excited about what they're doing. There's my second point. And my second point for today was to actually focus on your teams and on your users. So you can't achieve change if you don't get people on board. So it's really important to find out and address any resistance to change and any concerns that your users may have. And that's going to be very normal because people are naturally resistant to change. And another point here is to actually think about providing structured feedback or repeat feedback, or repeat support through things like what we've done, lunch and learn sessions, vendor surgeries or calls, and having that center of excellence team in place. If you have that repeat continuity, you allow people to stay engaged for a longer term process such as this. And that brings me to the end of my presentation. I hope you've enjoyed it and you found it useful for your own careers and your own future. Please, we have around maybe a few minutes for questions if anyone has anything to ask. Thank you.
Thank you for the talk. If you could go back, would you do anything differently?
That's a very good question. I think hindsight is a great thing. We've done the best we could at the stage that we were in, given that we're not transformation specialists. But I definitely see some things that we could have done differently at the beginning. And I guess the main thing to point out here is having those training and enablement sessions before work start, because our window between when we wanted people to start migrating work and when we started, I guess, driving that adoption was very, very short. So we ran both in parallel in a way that some people didn't really, they just attended the training and next day they got on a project. So maybe giving them some time to actually explore there between would have been useful. There's a question there. Sorry, I can't hear you.
So we're the beginning of your journey there. Was there anything about Dataiku that after you started using it, you found a bit frustrating? I'll be honest, we're looking at them, and you always hear the rosy picture from the vendor.
Yeah.
But was there anything that you found out afterwards that you thought,
I think that with every tool you will find certain functionality doesn't work exactly like you need it. And we've chosen Dataiku, so we went through a process of proof of concept, testing, comparing different tools for the same purpose. We've selected Dataiku primarily because of its ability to, I guess, automate via the browser, the online DSS service. But we did find that certain functionalities weren't built into the tool the way that we wanted them, or we needed them from legacy tools. We were able to solve that by building custom plugins, both internally and with the vendor's help. So I think it's natural to find that some features won't be in place, but as long as you have that option there to add those features later on, I think that should be fine, yeah.
So there was no kind of because we're switching from a different platform, and it's one of the oops that it's making us want to switch. So.
Well, I think that we're happy with it in general, yeah. We were able to solve some of those, I guess, little gaps that we had. Any other questions? I think that's it. Thank you, everyone. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day.